Quick disclaimer to start the video. This video is not meant to be a piece of political commentary. It will mention some politics and it will mention some racial politics, which I know is a very fraught subject in a lot of corners of the world. Do not make my comment section in a political debate house. There are places for that on the internet and it's not here. You can take that and leave right away. The only reason you should be getting mad in my comment section is because I'm a Georgia fan with moral high ground. I know some of y'all don't like that.
Something to say, he quoted Ludacris and said you can't turn something into a housewife. And I guess Kiffin's not a housewife.
Like, he basically sabotaged us, betraying us, and he's only leaving for money.
Good football coach, fantastic user of the transfer portal, stain on college football. What can I call Lane Kiffin that someone has not already called him? I don't think there's anything to call Lane Kiffin or say about Lane Kiffin that hasn't already been said, other than the fact that Lane Kiffin has somehow found a new way to piss me off. Now, unless y'all lived under a rock, you probably know what happened last year at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, who was the time head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, was leading Ole Miss to their best year in memory. They were off to the playoffs. They knocked my dogs out of the playoffs. They had a really good team. And Lane Kiffin suddenly left University of Mississippi to become the head coach at Louisiana State University to go to LSU, where the money is. He sold out his team, he sold out his program. In a lot of ways, he sold out a lot of the values that make college football great. And for that, he will not have my sympathy. However, he somehow found a way to make me like him even less, because he decided that in all of this, he somehow has the moral high ground. In an article with Vanity Fair he did on May 11th, Lane Kiffin partially blamed him wanting to move from Mississippi to LSU on racism. He told stories that went to, according to Kiffin, recruits would say, quote from him, "Hey coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi." He was saying that the racial overtones of Mississippi and of the University of Mississippi was a detractor and lost him recruits and lost him players, and that was part of his blame for why he left Ole Miss the way he did. I'm sorry. You were upset about racial overtones at Mississippi, so you went to Baton Rouge. Now, I'm not saying I don't believe him. I absolutely believe that there were recruits who refused to go to Mississippi because, frankly, there's a lot of racist imagery associated with University of Mississippi. I mean, they're called Ole Miss, for crying out loud. They banned their explicitly Confederate general mascot in 2003. They were waving Confederate flags at their games much not as far back as some of us would want to admit. There's a lot of racism involved in most of Southern sports like this. And that is obviously hard conversations do have to be had. We can't ignore that. However, I almost feel like Lane Kiffin is cheapening that genuine problem that exists in a lot of facets of sports by trying to justify him selling out his program and selling out the values that a head coach of a college football program ought to have by virtue signaling it about racism. That's a cheap shot to take and is a cheap thing to do, Mr. Kiffin. And furthermore, it's not like those problems didn't exist when you chose to take the head coaching job at Ole Miss. It's not like they suddenly appeared overnight when you showed up. It's not like New Orleans wasn't also a city in the Confederacy. It's not like you're just, it's not like a problem just appeared out of thin air when you showed up. It's not like, oh yeah, Mississippi, it was a progressive, liberal hub of diversity. And then I showed up and inexplicably, suddenly, it was racist. That didn't happen. You took the job and you should take the job and everything that comes with it. I understand if you had some issues recruiting and some issues with the culture on campus, and if you did, you were right to have them because there are issues to be had. However, using that to attempt to justify you selling out your program is disgraceful. It is a disgrace to college football. The actions he has taken before and since leaving, or the actions he took while at University of Mississippi and leaving Mississippi, it's not like Lane Kiffin was like this shining not paradox, was this shining symbol of diversity. I'm not trying to call him racist or anything. I'm not trying to throw anything like that around. But obviously, it's not like he was yelling night and day about diversity at Ole Miss. It's not like he was talking about Ole Miss. Or it's not like he was talking about diversity or any of these problems Ole Miss was having while he was there. Or at least not to Vanity Fair, he wasn't. Lane Kiffin is trying to take a moral high ground he doesn't have. He's trying to use this as an excuse for him selling out his program, and you should not fall for the bait. Earlier, he said, and I quote, "I really apologize if anyone at Ole Miss or in Mississippi was offended by that. I was asked about differences in recruiting, and I said one narrative we battled with was some out-of-state black parents and grandparents not wanting their kid to move to Mississippi." The problem is that what he said isn't bad in of itself. I'm absolutely convinced that he had recruits refuse to come because it's in Mississippi. Honestly, if I was somebody's grandparent and I remembered, and I was old enough to remember a time when folks were getting lynched, folks were getting murdered, I wouldn't want my kid going to Mississippi either. However, he's attempting to use a very serious subject like racism and a very serious subject to deflect from the fact that he sold out his program, to try and take a moral high ground that isn't there. And I've said it once, I've said it multiple times this video. I know I'm just going around in angry circles, but I'm gonna say it one more time. Lane Kiffin's actions are disgraceful, and him attempting to shift blame on Mississippi itself is disgraceful. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe I'm thinking about this way too much. But it doesn't sit well with me. I really do not like that. That does not sit well with me. So let me know below. What do you think? Am I blowing Lane Kiffin's comments way out of proportion? Do you agree with me? Do you think that this is Kiffin trying to take a moral high ground to defend himself being a massive sellout? I think he is, but if you disagree, let me know. Once again, no politics in my comment section. I will delete your comment, not because I'm against free speech, not because I hate being a southerner or anything, just because this is a sports channel and we go to sports to avoid the troubles of the world. And unfortunately, in moments like this, the troubles of the world do find their way into sports. That doesn't mean we can let some of the negativity out in the world into the world of sports. That actively means we should prevent that sort of but that sort of negativity into sports. So let me know all you think below. If you enjoyed this video, hey, thank you for watching. You chose to click on a video with a small channel talking about a controversial subject. You chose to click on my video and you chose to watch to the end, and I thank you for that, my friend. I thank you ever so much. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Jojo. I'm the host of Glenwood Games. I talk about Atlanta sports, I talk about UGA. I talk about all sorts of sports and everything that's on my mind here on this channel, and I'm so glad you are here. Make sure to like, subscribe to join the party, and make sure to hit the notification bell because that is the real subscription button so you never miss anything that I post here on Glenwood Games. Have a great rest of y'all day. Obligatory go dogs, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.